Hi everyone, welcome back to our Chinatown Soup Tea Club. Happy 2026. This is our first tea that we're going to celebrate the New Year's. And we're going to pick one that is a little bit more exotic and also is one of my favorite regions of tea. And this is Yancha. So what does Yancha means? Yancha means that it have to come from Wuyi mountain in northern Fujian. It's oolong tea that is actually cultivated and grown on cliffs or rocks. So Yancha oolong is a very specific regions that only could be produced to call it proper Yancha is in the National Reserve Park in Wuyi Mountain. And this will be the first tea that we're going to introduce to you from this region. Most of this oolong teas are been cultivated since the Song Dynasty, and it was particularly roasted in a very traditional way. This particular one that we have has been roasted twice. The proper roasting started on the harvesting month, which is usually late April or May, before the summer kicks in. So the weather is not so hot, so you can still use charcoal fire that traditionally either they use longyan wood or lychee wood to roast the tea. The roasting usually takes 3 to 5 days for the first roasting, and then they're going to do a refined roasting after the fall when the temperature is not so hot. Because summertime, if you have been to Wuyi Mountain, you know summertime is hot to becomes 100 degrees or more. And it's a humid area, so it's pretty bad to actually build fires and roast for like a couple of days inside those conditions. So they will wait until the Dragon Boat Festival in the fall, and then they will just finish the roasting. So this cultivar is very interesting cultivar. This is a cultivar called Golden Peonies, a 2025 editions harvested in May. And if we talk a little bit about this cultivar, this was actually developed in the 1970s. It's the first time in the modern day era that the governments actually put efforts in cultivating more different cultivar to the oolong cultivations. This is a mix of two cultivars. One is from Anxi Fujian, which is the Iron Goddess of Mercy, Tieguanyin. And you are familiar with that because this is one of those first two tea that we offer to our tea program. And Anxi Fujian produced Tieguanyin, which is basically grown on soil. So what they did is mix this particular cultivar into a native cultivar called Huangdan. I don't know the translations for that, but it's an old cultivar that is rock-grown oolong tea from this region. So they mixed the two together and successfully created this in the 1970s. When we are brewing Yancha, you can see I'm not skimming on using less tea leaf. If I have the choice, I would do even 1-to-1, but you can see how much I fill this small gaiwan with. It's almost up to 3/4 of it. The reason is you really want an intense experience on this. You don't want to have a light experience and just guessing what it is and all that. You want a full espresso basically on this tea. So filling up, tamping it down just by papping it, you can actually let all the wiry tea leaf go into the bottom of the tea cup, so you can actually start extracting it. Boiling water is a must. You always want to use boiling water with Wuyi Yancha, because if not, we are extracting the minerosity of the tea. So mineral needs a little bit more higher temperature to extract. And this is true to most yancha if we want to actually flavor the minerosity, or we call it yan yuan, meaning the taste or the rhythm of the rock. And that's really important for it. So you can see my rinse already has some color to it. It's more of a high roasted practice for this particular tea. And you can see how this is packed into the bottom of it. Nicely packaged on that. You want to smell it? And I'm really cannot wait if you already have the package and you already brewing this first time and you smell that fragrance. Flowers and honey and caramelized sugar, all that really good savory characters will be presented to you on that. Do savor the aromatic. What you want to really do is to kind of understand what kind of floralness am I tasting. And I already give you a clue on it because it's a Tieguanyin, so you're gonna smell flowers that is small, that is really, really more delicate and creamy, and you can think about what color they are when you drink it. Like what kind of flowers, what color is this flowers, how big are they? And you can pretty much assure that, lilac will come into mind. So it's important for actually having a little bit of time to let it sit into that, not so fast pulling it into it, because we have more tea ratio. So our extraction time is very, very, very brief. So this is our first brew with boiling water onto it. You see on the side it's already extracting almost like reddish gold color coming out into it. You're gonna just immediately pour this out. You can do a pitcher, or you want to do we call gongdao or fairness cup. But for me, from my experience, when you're experiencing yancha, you really don't want too many vessels to that transfer into. You want to immediately direct vessels to the vessels of brewing to the drinking vessel immediately. So that's your first brew. You can see again how glossy this tea is just by looking at how it reflects light. The main thing about Jin Mudan or golden peonies is the liveliness of it, because it's basically in one of the most famous cave called water lily blossom. The cave have a lot of mystical story behind it, and one of the stories Monkey King was visiting it also. So it's an interesting, like if Sun Hong or Hanuman has been through this cave and there's a lot of mystic to it. There's a lot of energy and spirits into this area. So let's try about how the water of the liqueur go through your throat. I will have the first brew. It's gonna immediately hit you with floral notes, honey, savory notes, but also keep in mind on paying attention to the water quality, the liveliness of the water, and that speaks a lot with liveliness, because you have water flowing in these regions. There's cave, there's waterfall, all that create a mist that actually nurture the tea plants, and all this terroir will be brewing out every time you pay attention to it. I love Wuyi tea because once they are properly roasted, when they start to age, almost like cognacs and brandy will be coming out from it. So it's like the more you have it, the more you age it, the more mellow it is, the more merry the energy and the flavor. And also pay attention to the energy of it. This is really representing the sun energy to it, because in this area there's a lot of rock, and what happens is when the rock receives the sun energy, you heat it up, it holds into place, almost like, imagines in a really beautiful sunny afternoon, you find a creek, and then you saw a big boulder of granite, and then there's moss growing on it, and the moss is being dried up by the heat, the sun, and you just bend down, and then you just start smelling the rock, and you can smell those minerals with the moss. That's really what Yan Yuan is, which is the rhythm of the rocks. It's not only about the rocks, it's about the environments that this rock resides into. So our second brew is a much thicker brew. You can also see the gloss of this. That's what you need, a clean tea represented by the liqueur that you brew in boiling water. There is a certain gloss to it that you can feel it is alive. So when you have this, do really follow that water going down to your throat. It's almost drinking spring cool water from a prestige area of it. So let's take a little peek. You'll see how compact my leaf is. In the previous episode, when I'm using really strong water to hit at one spot, you'll see the leaf will actually reside to the other side of it when you pour it out. When you look at this brewing, this is quite even. You can see where I hit the water and create a little dent, but not too much of a dent. You really want to shower this with boiling water, like that. And when I'm hitting my leaf before over this side, I need to move the tea leaf over back to this empty area. Then you pour hot water onto the opposite side. And you can see how this is already brewing it up into this deep brownish, licorice kind of quality of brews. Second brew coming out. I'm going to leave it a little bit stronger. This is already a 20-second brew in here. I'm going to push it a little bit. This will be our first introductory of Wuyi mountain tea, and there's more to come. And hopefully we will go through into the vintage part of the Wuyi Yancha, and that will be something that I'm looking forward to share. Third brew, I'm going to have a very greedy cup. It's all almost pouring out. The third brew is where the masculinity of the person that makes this tea, the sun and all that, is kind of be expressing all together at this one. Leave it a little comment on how about the fourth one. The fourth one, if you're brewing using hot boiling water and going in lightly, gently, just kind of like soak into the water, soak into the leaf, and have that experience, you might find something a complete opposite of it. And I will tell you that later on, why the reason of that. Okay, so hopefully you enjoy this. This is our 2026 first offer on our 10th episode. Oh my God, there's been 10 episodes. So hopefully you are all enjoying this. And cheers to health. And I'm just loving the glossiness of this liqueur, that you're actually ingesting it and filling your tummy with all this warmness and amazing aromatic and aftertaste. And thank you for joining us. Hopefully, see you next time.